our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon our God. You reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the our God. You reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak, and you comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. Our God, you reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. Our God, you reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like, oh, he loves us. Oh, how 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 he loves us. than any ocean, higher than the heavens reaches, beyond the stars in the sky. Your love is deeper than any ocean, higher than the heavens reaches, beyond the stars in the sky. Oh, Jesus, your love has no bound. Your love has no bound. Jesus, Lord of heaven, oh, I do not deserve the grace that you have given and the promise of your word. Lord, I stand and wonder at the sacrifice you've made. Mercy beyond measure, my high debt you freely pay. Yeah. Your love is deeper than any ocean, higher than the heavens reaches, beyond the stars in the sky. Your love is deeper than any ocean, higher than the heavens reaches, beyond the stars in the sky. Well, Jesus, your love has no bound. Your love has no bound. Jesus, Lord of heaven, oh, I do not deserve the grace that you have given and the promise of your word. Lord, I stand and wonder at the sacrifice you made. Mercy beyond measure, by high debt you freely pay. Yeah. Your love is deeper than any ocean, higher than the heavens reaches, beyond the stars in the sky. Your love is deeper than any ocean, higher than the heavens reaches, beyond the stars in the sky. Oh, Jesus, your love has no bound. Your love has no bound. Your love than any ocean, higher than the heavens reaches, beyond the stars in the sky. Shout to the Lord, all the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down and the sea will roar at the sound of your name. I sing for joy at the work of your hand. Forever I'll love you, forever I'll stand. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. I will sing to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, 'cause he is high above and lifted up. He is high above and lifted up. And I will sing to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, 'cause he was there for me. In the desert, he was there for me. On the mountaintop, he was there for me. When there was no water, he was there for me. And he gave me a drink, and I will sing to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, 'cause he is high above and lifted up. 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 In the desert, yes, he was there. On the mountaintop, he was there. In the valley deep, he was there. Everywhere I look, you know my God is there. Oh, he's there. 'Cause he is high above and lifted up. He is high above and lifted up. He is high above and lifted up. He is high above and lifted up.
The awkward silence. Good evening, you guys. I was finding things to do in the back. I always find something to do. How you guys doing tonight? Are we feeling like it's summer yet? Okay, is it too hot in here or is the air blowing? You guys feel good? Awesome. Okay, want to make sure you guys are comfortable and as we get ready to get into tonight's Bible study. But just a few announcements. Men, women, this is our last week for Bible study. So we want to invite you out. If you have yet to do it, you can always come in, check it out, and that way you'll determine whether or not this is something you'd be into or will have room for in the fall when we start up again. But I just want to let you know you have one more chance to meet up with us. The women are at 6:30, the men at 7 on Thursday nights. Men, there are maps in the back, and then go ahead and make sure you see Pastor Lee. He'll give you some of the details in regards to the group if you choose to go. We also have our home fellowship group that will be meeting throughout the summer. They decided we don't want to take a break. It's going really well. The friendships are forming. They're doing stuff together. They always have food on a Monday night. They meet at 6:30, and they're going to do that. They'd like to do it the entire summer. So my hat's off to them. And I'm really excited. Hopefully this, as things slow down for Pastor Howard and I, we'll actually be able to go and attend a home group a few times here and there during the summer. So we're really excited about that. Just want to let you know. But if you are part of that home group that's already meeting, if you already attend, make a mental note that on July 2nd, they will not be meeting. So being the 4th of July weekend, we have some couples that are going to be out of state on vacation and stuff. So that's the only Monday, I believe, in the summer that they will not be meeting. So if you want to make a note of that, I don't want you showing up and have them not be there. What we will be starting up in July, we're going to take a few weeks of a break with everything else before we meet up at the beach on Thursday nights at 6:30. The first meeting is on the 12th of July. It'll be at 6:30. We may meet a little bit earlier, being that it's the first one, and we've decided that even though we always do s'mores at the end, we have Jeff and Christine who bring the fire pit. Since you can't have firewood down there anymore, that we actually have a ring, and it's a ring of fire, basically, in the sand. And so we're still able to do our s'more event, which is something we love doing. But for the first meeting on the 12th, we're planning to have a pizza potluck. So your hot wings, your breadsticks, your salads, all that stuff. I will bring the sign-up sheet next week so we can kind of start putting it out there. You can start thinking about what kind of pizza you want to bring or whatever it is that you might want to bring with your chairs, with your coffee, with your waters, whatever it is that you want to bring, and hang out and watch the sunset as we actually go through the scriptures for the summer. So that's on the 12th of July. And then plan on until almost the end of August, we'll be meeting at the beach. With that said, I want to let you know that we do have childcare here on Tuesday nights, but I want to prepare you. We're going to go ahead and have the teacher take a little bit of a break, and being that we are starting the beach studies, that is a family-oriented situation where you can bring the kids here, Bible study, let them go play and all that. We're going to take a break here for childcare on Tuesday nights after the 10th of July. So you still have a little bit of time. We'll give you that warning. If you know of someone that once school's out, they might want to start bringing their kids, that we are going to take a little bit of a break. And if you want an extra Bible study where the kids are coming with you and you need to have them with you, you can come on Thursday nights and have a blast with us. The other thing that will be that's going on this summer is I will be leaving for Haiti. I make the announcement and I tell you all about it, so you guys know all about it. You can be reading about it on Facebook. I leave, I believe, on the 19th of July, and I'll be back. I'll be gone an entire week. We're doing a medical outreach. If you're donating women's clothes, don't panic. There's still time. I would love the help because they're asking us to go through the bags to make sure that there's nothing that's for winter. Pants for women, we're not really giving out pants. They prefer the skirts and the dresses and the tops that are church attire appropriate. So that's what we're looking for. And then definitely financially, we'll be buying the beans and rice there when we get there, and some of our medical supplies. And then also, if there are things that we cannot treat, we will be sending people to the hospital. We usually pay for their taxi and pay for their visit at the hospital with the doctors. So that's one of the things that your financial support will do. The main thing that we really need, and I mean this with all honesty, and I want you to know that your prayers are what we covet most. Right now we have some women that are actually writing the Bible studies, and they're translating them into their language so that they can be proactive in being in a women's Bible study. And I know they all get together, they all congregate as we do here, but to go to another place and another level, especially in their situation in life where things can be really, really hard. And this is just another way to get together and be in fellowship, get the word in, and train them in the ways of the Lord. And so we're really excited about that. We just need you to continue to pray for the health of the team, as a lot of us are older women now, and we have all these health issues, but I'm actually one of the healthier ones. And so if you can just really be praying for the team that's heading over there, I know that they will covet it. We feel it, we sense it when we're there. I'm telling you, there are days that we don't even know how we're going to get through the day, and we just get this little boost of energy. And it's usually, I could tell on a Sunday morning, when we're getting ready to do church, you guys haven't gotten up yet, and we're ahead, and I know that my husband's praying for me, and I can tell. So that's something we really appreciate. So I want to remind you about that. In the fall, I want you to be thinking about this. But we are doing a course called Financial Peace, and I think it's Dave Ramsey. Am I enunciating his name correctly? So we're going to be doing a class where we're going to actually meet. It's not set in stone, but we believe we're going to be doing this on Sunday late afternoons for 9 weeks. And I believe we're doing like 3 Sundays. We're going to skip the first Sunday of the month and do 3 weeks into the month, and then we'll start again. So we should be done with it within 3 months, as I counted out the weeks with some of the longer months. If that is something you're interested in, make sure that when the sign-up sheet gets out there, sometime this summer, that you put your name on it. If you already know for sure that you want to, please let me know, because if we order so many books before the 1st of July, we actually get a deal. So I believe the workbooks are about $100, maybe $90. Great investment on learning how to manage and budget your money, learning how to and discovering what the Lord would have you do with the money that you have, and how to either give it or use it or save it or whatever it is. So we're really excited about that. It's something I know we're going to be working on ourselves, Pastor Howard and I. So that's out there for you. One final announcement. There's a lot tonight. We are going to go to Israel. I have the numbers for the cost of the trip. It is a 12 to 13-day trip. We're leaving at the end of March. I believe it's the 28th, and we'll be back on the 8th. The cost is, I think, $3,200, and that's where we go to Petra, we go down to the Red Sea, we go into Eilat, and then we do still the regular touring that we do in Jerusalem and throughout Israel. So we are going to be having a meeting. If you never put your name down because you were too afraid to commit yourself, don't worry, you're not obligated. We have sign-up sheet in the back. I want to be able to let you know when the meeting is, and that you can get more of the facts, some details, and then at that point, take it home, take the paperwork home, pray about it, and determine whether or not this is something you're financially capable of doing or able to do. If it's a desire that you have, there's a down payment that's due in the fall, like in November, and then you could pay up until the time that you leave. So that's the skinny on that. Lots of announcements, but if you could put yourself on that sheet, I will make sure that I will call you. And I think, Howard, you can finally come back up. Thank you. I have to tell you, it's a really hard act to follow when he's up here, because he is a rock star. And I have to tell you, I don't say that kiddingly. He just is. And there are times that I don't want him to sing and talk, but I love when he does that here. Anyway, all right. So anyone have a birthday that we can sing to really quick? Anyone celebrating a sobriety birthday or a belly button birthday? Anybody? Yes, sir. 1 year clean. Congratulations. All right. Anybody else? Nobody? Is that it? All right. This is my cue to get off, and happy birthday. Go ahead, Pastor.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jesus loves you. Happy birthday to you. What's kind of cool is that when we celebrate a birthday like this, it's more than a song, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it weird how somebody else's victory becomes our victory too? Isn't that cool? I mean, sometimes we hear about somebody who goes back out again, and you go, oh, everybody, oh, no. And it's like, You know, if we just get it in our heads that our failures aren't just our failures, and that our victories just aren't our victories. But there are a lot of people, and I know with everybody seated in this room tonight, I know that there are a lot of people who represent the influence and the work of God getting you to this place. You know what I mean? A lot of people. For some of us, it's been dozens. And for some of us hard cases, it's been hundreds, you know, just getting there. And what a joy it is to celebrate a birthday every week. The usher's going to come forward, are going to receive our tithe, but at the same time, I want to pray. God, would you bless the tithe and offering? Lord, would you use it for kingdom business? In Jesus' name, amen. Take my heart and form it. Take my mind, transform it. Take my will, conform it to yours, oh Lord. To yours, oh Lord. Holiness, holiness is what I long for. Holiness is what I need. Holiness, holiness is what you want from me. So take my heart and form it. Take my mind, transform it. Take my will, conform it to yours, oh Lord. To yours, oh Lord. Sing righteousness, righteousness, righteousness is what I long for. Righteousness is what I need, it's what you give to me. Righteousness, righteousness is what you give to me. So take my heart and form it. Take my mind, transform it. Take my will, conform it to yours, oh Lord. Take my heart and form it. Take my mind, transform it. Take my will, conform it to yours, oh Lord. To yours, oh Lord. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. You came from heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high.
to have $1 for every time I've sung that, but it never gets old for some weird reason. I just love it. And I don't know, it just seems like when I lift God up, he brings me with him, which is weird. I lift him up, and then he brings me with him. A couple things for you from Tony. How you doing, Tony? You good? Good. Because you just had some chemo today, right? No, tomorrow. Tomorrow you got some chemo. When was the last time you had some? Last week you had some chemo. Okay, so blessed every day. Good for you. We've been praying for you, Tony. And so he's got a bunch of Discovered devotionals, Discovery series, and these are so good. I mean, come on, man. Don't we spend enough time on our iPhones or on our smartphones? Don't we spend enough time on Facebook? You know, we spend so much time doing a lot of different things. I think we could just, look at this. This is a bathroom read, if you know what I'm saying. So, you know what you need to do is you need to grab some of these and just set them in the bathroom. And if you're looking for something to help you kind of relax and focus, I'm not going to go any farther than that. You want to grab some of these. And the Lord doesn't mind. God doesn't mind if you're in the porcelain reading room enjoying some time. He doesn't care. That's good. And then we've got larger prints and all of that, so be sure. Listen. These better be all gone by the time we're leaving. I'm not going to keep you here that long anyway. But you should probably, and I would strongly recommend that you do that. Number 2, Lucia mentioned that we're going to Israel. I wanted to remind you of something. She said like $3,200. Now let me talk about this just for a second. That includes round-trip air. That includes transportation to and from the airport. That includes lodging, all your lodging. Also is included your meals. So it's a buffet breakfast and a buffet dinner. And let me just say, Trudy, am I lying? Amazing. The breakfast, the dinners are just off. They have lingua there. For those of you that know what lingua is, it's cow's tongue, but it's unbelievable. It's so good. I know you're like, oh man, it was so good. So the fruits and the breads and the vegetables and all of the meats and stuff, they're all kosher and it's all good for you. And so anyway, I just had to throw that in because a lot of people go, $3,200. But really, come on, man. You can't go to Vegas for 12 days for under $3,200. It's not going to happen. So we'll be taking you all the way to Israel. Go to the Gospel of John. The Gospel of John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and then John. Once you find the book of John, it's going to be the 5th chapter. And it's kind of been Howard's shotgun summer. Oh, if you do not have a Bible, please pick up your hand and one of these guys will hook you up. That's right. So there we go. All right. Everybody there? When you're there, shout amen. Amen. All right, here we go. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now, there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of sick people, blind, lame, paralyzed, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in first, after the stirring of the water, was made well of whatever disease he had. Now a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been in that condition for a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no man to put me in the pool when the water is stirred up. But while I'm coming, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." And immediately the man was made well, took up his bed and walked. And that day was the Sabbath. God, would you bless this, our Bible study? Lord, I guess the hard part is not being here and hearing, but the hard part is receiving. The hard part is owning that you are speaking in and to us, in our hearts and our minds. And so, God, I just pray by the power of your Spirit as you do battle over this place tonight, that you would supernaturally speak into our lives. Lord, that you would unfold things, the things that we've been wrestling with, and you would bring answers to them as only you can, and we would see your Son in the process. In Jesus' name, amen. I was talking to somebody today, and he is working with people who are in recovery. And I said, I said, so they're dual diagnosis. Because as you well know, most people who struggle with addiction, there's really an issue behind the issue that we don't really get to because we're so crowded or clouded by the issue we think is the issue. And the real issue, the issue behind the issue, is therefore hidden because we are clouded by the issue we think is the issue that is not quite the issue. Are you following me so far? You either have to be completely sober to understand what I just said, or tweaking or something. You have to, a lot of coffee or something. And so I guess the point that he said there's now a more advanced term. We don't use dual diagnosis anymore. It's what did he say? It was what? That's it. Thank you. I knew some of you geniuses would have that. It's called a co-occurring condition. A co-occurring condition. So here's the mind blower of all mind blowers. Most of us in this room could seriously be defined as people who are carrying co-occurring conditions. In other words, my condition has conditions. And when your condition has conditions, and you're really not getting to the bottom of things, at some point you look in the mirror and you go, what the heck? How am I going to manage the condition I think is my condition, as well as the condition that I didn't realize is my condition, because it's a co-occurring condition? How do I get there? Man, am I glad you came tonight. Because this is another piece in the puzzle to help you unwind and find and get to the bottom of things and begin to make strides in a positive direction. Are you with me so far? Would you like to do that this evening? Because if you're with me and we walk together, what you're about to receive, I'm telling you, it is golden. It is awesome. So here we go. Number one, they're saying that there's a feast in Jerusalem. There was a feast. And it's probably one of those pilgrimage feasts. They had pilgrimage feasts. And it was, there were two of them, major pilgrimage feasts. It was when they would go to Jerusalem and make a pilgrimage. Everybody would come from all four corners when they would actually save up to make it to a pilgrimage feast. And so one of them, is you probably are aware of, it's called Passover. And that's when they were able to get out of Egypt unscathed, virtually firing a shot, simply because the angel of death had gone through all of Egypt, and the firstborn males were they all died. But the only way to escape that judgment was to have blood from a lamb on the lintel and the doorposts of the house, on the headboard and the sides and the doorposts of the house. And so people that escaped. Even Pharaoh's own son died in the process. And so they just wanted to get these people out. And so Passover is a celebration where the angel of death had passed over them, and they were able to get out of bondage and slavery supernaturally. The next one is called tabernacles, and that's when they would set up like these booths. They also call it the Feast of Booths, and they would set them up in the city. They would come in, and around the whole tabernacle, they would put together these makeshift like huts, and you could see the stars up above them. It was just, they laid out under the stars in the night and basically remembered all of those years of following God throughout the desert, the cloud by day and the pillar of fire at night. And so it was celebrating. So put it this way, Jerusalem is just a little bit bigger than Escondido. And if you can imagine some 2.5, 3 million people downtown Escondido hanging out, making little booths, or hanging out, bringing their lambs in for a slaughter to celebrate the feast or the festival. So you'd have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people everywhere you look. And so there was a great thoroughfare. One of the best thoroughfares is right there at that pool called Bethesda. And it would be kind of like if you could set up at the 78 and Melrose and say, you know, I will work for food, or, you know, can you help a guy out, toss the dog a bone. It was a great place to get people to provide for you. And so you have all these clusters of people that are hanging out, and it's kind of a pathetic sight, because when it says that they were sick people, what it means is they were like tore up. I mean, they were like messed up, and you had everything from the needy to the poor to the powerless to the weak to the feeble to the disabled, the lame, the blind, the paralyzed. And one of the things about this that just fascinates me is that our world has a tendency to clump all of these people together. Are you with me? Anybody who's got co-occurring conditions tends to get clumped together. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And by the way, you know as well as I do, there is more to blindness than not just being able to see. I mean, there are blindnesses that all of us carry around with us, blind spots in our own lives, and things that we don't understand. There is more to being lame than just being lame. Can I get an amen? Yeah. Like, in other words, you know, I don't have a mullet anymore. That's gone now. There's more to being lame than being lame. Same with paralyzed. There's more to paralysis than you know, not being able to move a limb. Some people are relationally paralyzed. Some people have relational paralysis. Some have sociological paralysis. They just don't know where they fit, how they fit, why they fit. They don't even try to fit. So if it does not fit, you just acquit, and that's the end of it all. It's a sickness. So they're all dealing with different sicknesses. So everybody's together, all clustered up in one spot, and they're waiting. Everybody is waiting, and everybody is looking toward the water. They're looking toward the water, and they're looking at people passing by. So they're looking at the water, they're looking at people passing by. They're looking at the water, looking at people passing by. I mean, this is hardcore business. Verse 5, look again. Now a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. This guy, John, knew that it was 38 years in the making. Some of us in the room tonight haven't been on the planet for 38 years. This guy has been messed up for 38 years. That means that he has been messed up a long time. And even as I said that, some of you are thinking, yes, that's me. I have been messed up a long time. Verse 6. But when Jesus saw him, you underline that in your Bible. If you have it, if you have mine, take it, steal it. I don't care. Underline in it. You can mark it up. It says, when Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been in that condition. By the way, when you're tore up for 38 years, you can tell. You know what I mean? Like we encountered somebody the other day that we hadn't seen in months and months. And as soon as I saw this person, I went, oh my. I didn't say anything like, you don't want to say that when you haven't seen somebody for months. Boy, you look really sick. Is everything okay? You don't want to say that, but immediately you're thinking, my goodness, what is wrong with this person? Now, you can imagine, this was me for a few months of separation. You can imagine what somebody looks like after a good 38-year-long addiction. Oh, man. As a matter of fact, some of us know people that have had a good 38, 40-year-long addiction and what it does to your body. That's, by the way, 38 years, that's not a little sick. That's a lot of sick. And at 38 years of being sick, there are muscles that you don't even use anymore. There are things about your life that there's a word, it's called atrophy. And it's when your muscles stop working. That's why, honestly, have you ever seen anybody with a cast, or have you ever had a cast on your arm, and then you take that cast off and you see how small your arm got just because of no use? The same thing happens in the life of a human being. When you get that atrophy going off, there's a part of you that just can't function. You're beyond dysfunctional. And so there they are, hanging out down by the pool of Bethesda. And believe me, healthy people do not hang out down there. And you know why they don't hang out there? I think there's two reasons. Number one, I don't think they want anybody else to think that they're sick like that. Number two, I don't think they want to get any sicker, or they want to get sick at all. So what did they do? They build places for people like this. In Jerusalem, they had places, but in our world, in the United States, we build places for people like this, don't we? We call them hospitals. In some cases, we call them sanitariums. Or in other cases, we call them jails or institutions for correction, which is an irony in terms anyway. Or they put them in a program, but they put them together. Verse 6. Then he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" Now, let me ask you, is this not the dumbest question you have ever heard in your life? He's talking to somebody who has been sick for 38 years, and he asked this question: do you want to be made well? That's like asking a fisherman, how's fishing going? Or walking up to you with your head in the engine compartment with the hood up and the steam flowing out, and walking up and saying, is there a problem here? Yes, there is a problem. It's why he asks it, do you want to be made well? And I think if I'm this guy, I'm thinking, well, gee, let me think about it for a little while. I don't know if I want to be made well. I'm not quite sure. So I ask the question this way. Jesus, go ahead, ask it with me. Jesus, and here's the question. Why do you ask? Go ahead. I think Jesus does this to draw him out. I think he asks the question because, let me rephrase Jesus' question. Are you comfortable with this? Are you good with this? Or would you like another alternative? Would you like to be made well? See, what he's saying, in essence, and this is the beauty of it, he's saying, in life, there's always a thing within the thing. There's always a thing under the thing that you think is the thing. And so he asks him quite directly, do you want to be made well? Are you accepting this as your lot in life? Or are you ready to embrace a change? Isn't that a provocative question when you really think about it? He asked the question. We hear his voice, and if you're there and you're sick for 38 years, for the first time in your life, you get somebody who is saying, you know what, there is hope. And let me just be the second one who says it to you tonight. Guess what? There's hope. Turn to the person next to you and say, Don't worry, there's hope. Or worry, there's hope. Yeah. Yeah. And see, I think many of us, we want to say yes. We really want that. But in the deepest, darkest part of what we are, is it really true? Do we really want to be made well? Do we really want it to be different? I mean, it is so much easier to hang on to the condition that you're aware of than to release it and move on to a life that you're completely clueless about. Isn't it? I mean, this is why, the recidivism rates, which is a fancy word for saying people who are getting locked up again, this is why the recidivism rates are so high. In other words, I don't know if it's 1 of every 3, 1 of every 4, 1 of every 2. I can't remember what the statistic was. But the recidivism rates for guys to get locked up again are really, really, really high. You know why? Because for many of them, they're able to contextualize and deal with life inside than to deal with the chaos of life outside. Are you hearing what I'm saying? This is why you're here tonight, and it is so important. I want you to think about the weak and the sick and the crippled sitting in the shade of that porch at the edge of the pool, watching the crowds go by. They're watching the crowds go by, and these crowds are stressing. People are like, come on, kids, let's go. Maybe there's a couple of screaming kids in there. You see frustrated parents, people trying to drag a donkey through the streets, all kinds of things that people are having to battle with because they're running and sweating through life in the hot Middle Eastern sun. And they're like, please. And these people who are sitting on the porch, their life may not be the greatest thing, but at least it's not that weird as far as they're concerned. He knows, our 38-year-old man on the porch, he knows if he's healed, then everything in his life is going to change. His friends are going to change. His surroundings are going to change. He knows that if he chooses to allow God into his condition within a condition, he's going to begin unraveling those things and healing those things. And he'll ask the question, do you want to be made well? One great mind, Paschal, said this: men often mistake imagination of the heart, and they believe that they are converted as soon as they think of being converted. In other words, the thought of being converted is what many imagine to be conversion. In other words, the thought of healing is really great. And some of us, we really enjoy that, and we'll come into a place like that, and we'll hear about healing, and we'll rejoice in healing, and we'll celebrate healing. But as far as we're concerned, we want the hope, we don't want the change. Did I just say that? Because can somebody help me out? Is change easy or is it hard? Yes, it is. And here's the kicker of all kickers. Things are changing whether we like it or not, right? And sometimes just adapting to the changes are difficult. And I think that God would, in your life as well as mine, He would have us setting the market instead of chasing the market. It's kind of a real estate term. What they say is price your house right to sell so that you don't have to keep dropping the price so that you're chasing the market in creativity and in moving in new directions in your life. God wants to, in your life, establish a whole new normal and a whole new you. And for this guy, I don't know exactly how he feels about it at this moment. And people who hear about hope, who go to meetings, they 3-peat, 4-peat, they go through rehab, the mill of rehab, they really fall in love all over again with the concept of sobriety, with the concept of living a life that's productive, and they celebrate it, But are they willing? See, that's one thing. You can fall in love with the concept of being free, but really walking in it? Like, let me put it to you this way, and I'm sorry. Is there not a difference between wanting something and being willing to get it? Isn't there a difference? I mean, everybody wants, to make decent living, but not everybody's willing to work a job or work that hard to make that happen. It's two different things. This is what God is constantly calling us to a closer, to a deeper walk. And like life does, he's going to take you to a place where you either embrace the healing and everything that comes with it, or you just walk away. And you have to ask, am I willing? Just write that word down in your mind, willing. See, because if you've never considered this before, I have to take you there. If you've never really factored God into the equation of your thinking, I'm going to ask you this. Do you want to be made well? I'm sorry, do you want to be made well? Do you want to be made well? Are you willing? Are you willing? See, and here's the beautiful truth. You can be made well right now. You can be made well right now. If you refuse, you won't. It's that easy. I mean, the question, isn't this beautiful? The question is asked, but the answer is up to you. I mean, that's the bottom line when it comes to God. He'll ask the question, do you want to be made well? And he'll lets it hang with the answer. I mean, he could have yoded the guy, just said, made well, never respond, just blast the guy, and all of a sudden, wow, I'm healed, that's wonderful. No, he asked them the question. See, even for the believer, he puts it to them. And when it comes to blindness and paralysis and being lame and limping through life, but constantly going through the motions, but missing out on the power, he asks, do you want to be made well? Just asking. See, there's 3 of you that wanted to be made well. The rest of you are leaving sick. Let me ask again, do you want to be made well? Yes. 7, verse 7. The sick man answered, and this is this is you and this is me. Man, is this us. Look at his response. Do you want to be made well? I'm like, is the Pope Catholic? Do I want to be made well? Does Trump have a bad comb over? Yes, I want to be made well. Think about it. The sick man answered, Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. But while I'm coming, another steps down before him. Now, let me ask you a question, because you're all philosophers. Those of you on Facebook can't answer, but just answer your computer. And it's this. He was asked the question. Let me ask you. Was that an answer? Exactly, because you guys have been to group therapy. You know when somebody's trying to skip out under the questions. Oh, yeah. No, that's not an answer. That's what they call an assessment. That's an assessment. It's not an answer. He's an assessor. He's good at assessing. All he does is assess. He's constantly assessing. He's always assessing. He's a pro assessor. We would call him just a magnificent assessor. I know Lucia's like, watch it, Howard. I can hear her speaking it in my brain right now. And this is atypical for so many of us. This is where we get a bad case of the I'm going back out there. And it's this. I've tried everything. Nothing works. There's nothing that works. And guess what? It's always going to be like this. I'm always going to have this. Well, how long am I going to have to deal with this? It's always going to be like this. And you know what? Seeing how it's always going to be like this, it is way easier to just live with my alternative conditions, my co-occurring conditions. It's so much easier to deal with that, just live with that, because you know as well as I do, at least you know what you're dealing with. Today it's Sybil. Tomorrow it's Howard again. You just never know who you're going to get. Sitting there, and you look at each other on the pool at Bethesda on the porch, and you assess each other, and you both validate each other. And yeah, you're surrounded by a bunch of people who are exactly like you. Wow. And you know what we call that? I call that being crippled by your own condition. And you have never been designed to be crippled by a condition. There he is, crippled by the condition. And they look at each other, they look at the water, they look at the people passing by, they look at each other, they look at the water, they look at the people passing by. And so many people, for 38 years, they have been trying. This one has been trying for 38 years, and others alongside of him have known him probably for decades, trying to change, trying to cope, trying to make it. Did you know what Bethesda means? This is a trip. This is such a mind blower. Bethesda means this: house of mercy. Beth is a home. Bethesda means house of mercy, or get this, house of grace. So in other words, they're looking at the pool and they want their grace. And everybody's trying to get into the water. There was a superstition that happened. This pool is fed by underground springs. And whenever there was some sort of seismic activity, which in the Middle East there is considerable, the waters would stir, a spring would gush more water. And they had a superstition that if you got into the waters first, you would get healed. And so whenever they would feel the shaking and watch the stirring, people would elbow each other and try to clamor for the water. Everybody is just trying like all get out to just get a little grace. And they're thinking in their mind, if I can just get from here to there, then my life will be different. If I can just get from here where I am to there. And I'll tell you what, we play the same game. I am so sick and tired of seeing this on Facebook. And if you've done it to me, that's fine. I love you anyway. But here's the thing. They go through this big, long-winded, my mother died of cancer, which mine did. And, if you're really a friend of mine, then you're going to respond. And if I'm really their friend, I'm going to say, wow, so sorry to hear that. And then we're going to go for some likes, And then we look at it. And just think, if you're the person who says, if you're really my friend, then you really discover how few friends you really have. And you realize how few likes you're really getting. And you're thinking, if I could just get from here to there, it would be better. Or maybe you're thinking, as you look at your wallet, if I could just get from here, which is nothing, to where Mario is, who has a wallet full of money right now as we're speaking. If I could just get from where Howard is to where Mario lives, then my life would be happening. Or if I could just get from unemployment to employment, or if I could just get from single to couple, if I could just get some friends if I could just get from here to there, and there they are fighting for grace. I just want a little grace in my life. And so I'm going to ask you, what's your Bethesda? What is your Bethesda? What is your thing that you constantly look at, that you wish you could get, that you're trying to deal with the situations just by the water? And nothing works. And you feel completely powerless, which isn't bad, because I think there's a step that goes something like this. We've admitted that we were powerless. Anybody familiar with that at all? And that our lives had become, what a glorious thing. By the way, Man, am I glad you came. This is exactly how God works. He waits for that moment where you go, I'm done. See, because the truth comes out, he won't save you without you. And you cannot be saved without him. I mean, put it this way. You've got all these people with co-occurring conditions all fighting for something that cannot deliver. The water, by the way, grace was never in the water. Grace was always in a person. See, they thought it was in the pool. No, it wasn't in the pool. It was in the person that was standing right there. And Jesus, he turns to this one guy. And this is the thing that just blows my mind. Do you realize that if you look at verse 1 of chapter 5, it says there was a feast in Jerusalem. And then when you get to verse 3, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th word in verse 3. Somebody read that to me. Multitude. That's what it is. So we're talking, this place is wall-to-wall, co-occurring conditions on the porch, okay? This is wall-to-wall people. And he's only having a conversation with one of them. Because if you noticed, he called him sir. He doesn't know who he is. Nobody knows it's God. Nobody knows that this is Jesus who's shown up. He just looks at him and says, sir, I have no one to help me to get into the water. Never answers the question, assesses the situation. And a bunch of his friends around him could care less. As far as they're concerned, if he doesn't have a couple of shekels, he's no value to me. Because I've got an agenda here. He's got a life. And Jesus tells him, rise, take up your bed and walk. And get this, he is asking him to do something that he absolutely knows for 38 years it's taught him that this cannot be done. And you're sitting here tonight, everybody is sitting here tonight, and you have situations in your own lives where you look at me and you say, that can't be done. Stop it. Stop it. Shut those voices up, because that is the enemy. I'll tell you this much. With God, all things are possible. Don't you look at me and tell me it can't be done. It can be done, because with God, there's nothing that is impossible. And if you believe, and that's what he's looking for, he's simply asking them to believe by faith. I want you to trust me and just do what I ask you to do. Can you imagine what a game changer that could be? In Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 6, it says, we must, without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. I mean, the beauty of this is Jesus wants him to pick up his bed. Did you catch that? Pick up your bed? I mean, if I were Jesus, I would just go, let's go, bro. We're out of here. You're going. But no, he wants him to clean up. He's like, clean it up. In other words, I want you to take your reserved space here, because at 38 years, I'll tell you this much. That's one homeboy who has prime real estate. You know what I'm saying? He's got prime real estate. He's camped out there. He's got the exact spot. When we went down, Mario and Sonia and me and Lucia and a couple other gals from the church, we went canoeing this week down at La Jolla. In what? Kayaking, sorry. Kayak canoe, whatever.